Hi Aquarius. So I'm just going to go ahead and do our weekly reads for the air signs today. I am going to use the solar system cards because I just think it's cool. And since we're talking about air signs, what's further out there than the solar system. If you haven't looked at my readings from yesterday, I did do a reading on water. So we will do water signs in a couple days here, but not quite yet. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to try to incorporate some new parts of this series, but I do just want to give you guys individual reads for your signs. See what's going on. So anyway, let me give it one more shuffle. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pull 3 from here. I am going to use the raw deck to clarify, and then I'll probably get 1 or 2 animal cards just to give you kind of an intuitive read or hit on what's going on. So let's see what we get. These are really big cards and they're hard to shuffle correctly, so I might make a huge mess, but who cares? Okay. All right, cool. So we got dark matter in the reverse. That is a mystery card, so there's no mystery here. Dark matter actually can have a lot to do with the negative spaces. So when you think about a picture that you take in black and white and then invert the colors, then everything that was black turns white and everything that was white turns black. Kind of a cool way to look at it, but that's the way that I'm kind of perceiving this card today. We've also got black hole in reverse, which is subjugation. So rather than feeling like one or the other is better, what I'm getting here is that they may have equal values associated with them, and one is not below or above the other. You need to kind of look at things especially because you're an Aquarius. Oftentimes Aquariuses are very direct, they're very straightforward, and they do see things kind of in black and white at times. But I'm feeling that right now you're having more of an experience of absorbing everything. So black holes do actually absorb all light and everything around them. That's one of the ways that we can tell that there is a black hole out there is because light can disappear into it. So the nuances and the shades of gray is kind of what I'm feeling right here. And then the nebula star. So this is nebula star death. So transformation. So this may be some type of a transmutation is more what I'm hearing or feeling at this point. It's like a, you can see how this really kind of looks like an eye when it's up close. Like a big old eye, and you could look at each of these as 2 sides of black and white, white and black, however you want to look at it. But since we're talking about subjugation, then you could look at like the left is not any better than the right, and the right isn't any better than the left. And that being the case, there's no mystery when you look at things like that. It is kind of a equalizer, if you will. And when you're looking through 2 different perspectives and coming to a middle ground, there's oftentimes a compromise made or some type of a happy medium that we can kind of come to when we're able to put our own needs down and consider others around us, as well as kind of get to know what it is that the other perspective may be viewing or seeing is kind of what I'm feeling here. So that's the beginning of the read. I will leave these here and we will come right back to them in a second. I am going to go ahead and use the raw deck just to get some clarifiers for each of these. I'm just going to do 3, and then I'll also get the animal cards in there with it. I think it's really cool to think about air signs as being all flying avians or aviators. I don't know if you guys like aviator glasses, but I really do. Yeah, and oftentimes when I think about aviation, I think about birds easily, but I forget about insects. They're easy to kind of see on the ground and be freaked out by, but we don't oftentimes really hone in on insects flying through the air. But when you're thinking about things like sects, not sex as in like a physical act, but I'm saying sects, the sect or the section that we kind of divide our society into, there's oftentimes a black and a white, or what we consider a right and a wrong, or PC versions of things, if for a lack of a better term, So kind of being able to incorporate those two and hone in and focus largely on the smaller things in life that we may otherwise miss, like insects, is a really cool way to look at an air sign. So I just think, especially the deeper meanings of air signs, since Aquariuses are also obviously associated with aquatics. So tadpoles and a whole bunch of different insects are actually, they live around a lake or a pond, or, the ocean front. There's just oftentimes at intersections, busy intersections with traffic, I'm just seeing insects flying around there to get the heat from the car's exhaust that's coming off. And, there's usually crows and pigeons and all kinds of birds waiting around for dinner at that time. So I don't know why that all came through, but apparently some of you needed to hear that. The first one I got was stormy. So this can indicate a new relationship kind of take off. When you're sailing in the water as an Aquarius, you're safe in a boat, and we are all on the same boat. So when you look at the base of the boat and the actual flag itself, or the sail, and you're looking at things in black and white, it really comes down to, like, pirates' boats knew the difference between boats that came here to colonize the country, for example, by the flags that they were waving in order to indicate which direction they were trying to move, and how turbulent the water is oftentimes dictates how far you can get, exactly your mortality rate on a boat. Sometimes people get seasick and other times they don't. It depends on the motion of the ocean, if you will. So a lot of things depend on the motion of the ocean, if you know what I mean. So anyway, that's kind of the first that would go along with dark matter. So maybe there's not really a lot of mystery about this. The things that we need to be considering oftentimes are the things that make us a little bit uncomfortable or sick, if you will, are the things that are the shadow work that we need to be working on in ourselves, and the things that trigger us about other people. So that's definitely maybe something that we could all work on. For subjugation, I'm going to go ahead and grab us another card. Ooh, that just came right out. Oh, love. So instead of pushing down love, or instead of subjugating, instead of taking a back seat to your ability to adore, to love, to cherish, to shower others with your gifts and your talents, I think this is really saying, suck it up. This is saying, grow some, and find the key to unlock your heart and the space that it has to really express the things, the mystery that you may have been resisting up into a certain point, and that may have been making your life a little bit turbulent. If you're on an airplane as an air sign over the ocean, you can sometimes have a little bit of this feeling of non-reality. It's like the ocean is so vast and so far that you can't see land in any direction, perhaps. And I know for me, myself, I have gotten very sick on a plane on my way to a foreign country, and just waking up realizing that I'm over a body of water. And if we were to fall, that was a scary idea to me. So rather than focusing on that, I just went back to sleep. And I love sleeping. I probably should be a professional sleeper. I think I could do that as like a professional sport or something like that. But in any case, whatever it is that you love, the people, the distant land that you're either coming to or are, coming from or to, and from or to, sorry. Not really. Yeah, but it's just whatever you're focused on, your future goal should not be subjugating whatever dark matters have approached your life. So rather than looking at it as, oh my gosh, I'm so scared that I'm just going to have focus on the turbulence. Focus on the people you're going to go see, all your loved ones, all the new experiences you're going to have, the great places that you get to explore, and the ways in which that's going to change your life. That was the way that I made it through, at least, because it was definitely a little bit rough sometimes. Transformation. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, is this idea of being able to transmute your own thought process. As an Aquarius, you guys can be very analytical, very set in certain ways and in certain ideologies, which is not a bad thing at all. It makes you guys very much a force to be reckoned with, but also the ability to transform those, or replan, or reform, or whatever the case may be, is also one of your strengths in life. So I think staying focused on that more heart-spaced goal is usually the best way to proceed. And it doesn't mean that you have to subjugate everything. It just means that, when you're trying to achieve something, just keep your eye on the prize. All right, boundaries came out. So that's kind of what I was just getting into, ironically enough. When you're thinking about both sides, it's okay to fall further on one side than the other. It's okay to realize that you've got boundaries, that you need to stay centered and grounded in yourself and in your own heart space, rather than, changing everything about yourself for someone else. It's really okay to enjoy the things that you enjoy doing, and it's really okay to stop doing those things when it stops feeling good. It's a boundary, and it's, sometimes you have to say goodbye to some of a star is more or less a flaming ball of fire. It's like a fireball, it's a huge, you get too close to the sun, you melt. And if you haven't heard the story of Icarus, I would suggest you take a look at that, because you don't want your wings to fall off. And I don't know, Icarus's wings were made out of wax and feathers, and he got too close to the sun and the wax melted and he fell into the ocean. So I'm just saying here that there may be a certain level of cognizance that you need to retain for yourself to have good boundaries between both sides. And whatever that is, stay true to yourself, because that's the only way that you'll ever make a decision that's going to be fulfilling to you. I don't know if you guys have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of need, but it is also a pyramid that basically indicates for us that the things that our body needs, absolutely needs, like food and water, and, to go to the bathroom, and sexual urges, and new kind of mental movements, etc., etc. But then there's also things that we want, and those things are self-actualization goals. Those are at the very top of the pyramid, and they are achieved by staying true to the boundaries that you've got and climbing at your own pace. Understand that you can't ask a panther or a jaguar to be a frog, and to, they're not good at being a frog, and a frog isn't good at being a panther or a jaguar. So I think it's okay to say, hey, I just kind of want to hang out next to the lake, or I just kind of want to go swimming in this pond, or maybe I just want to go kayaking on the ocean. But I don't really think, I think I'm good on the Serengeti, or I think I'm okay not going to see the desert, or whatever the case may be. You will know more than I would what your disposition is and how you need to move. I'm also hearing that for animals, largely their diet has a lot to do with things. I don't know why that came out, but yeah, like a frog eats flies, which are airborne insects, okay. A jaguar doesn't care about that. However, the frog needs to stay aware of, if they both live in the same area, the frog might want to pay attention if a jaguar or a lion or a large cat of some type comes straight at them. You need to be conscious of your surroundings is what I'm kind of hearing. And so that you can make sure that you can, you know, get through whatever kind of stormy atmosphere may be coming your way, and choose to like suck up the things that you'd like to eat rather than just anything that flies past your face. So have your net large enough to catch things, but small enough to have good boundaries. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more cards. I'm trying to keep these a little bit short today. I've got 2 more signs to get through as well. So I am so tired. I'm exhausted. But I did want to go ahead and make sure this happened. So I'm going to just get, well, we're going to see what the animals have to, they're just talking to me a lot today. I'm getting a lot of downloads from various places apparently about, you know, all that goodness. Okay. So the horse came out in reverse for stormy without, you know, dark matters. You may be feeling like your power. I'm just hearing horsepower on like a boat or on a motor for some reason. That it may be I mean, I just told you I'm feeling a little bit worn out. It may not be such a mystery, your amount of input, but you may not know your output. It may not be such a mystery, your output, but maybe you're not realizing how much you're putting into some things. So that's always a good balance to come to. These are really pretty cards, and so I'm just going to see if you can see it. Yeah. So I'm just seeing that she's looking at the moon, and that might be kind of what this mystery was all about, was figuring out how much power can I put towards sailing towards a certain direction, or how much, you know, if you're a salesman or a saleswoman, how much can I invest before I feel kaput, like just done, you know? Let me get 2 more cards really quickly for black hole and love. Our black hole is in reverse, so hopefully you're not feeling too drained by this entire thing. But okay, I got Peacock in reverse. So Peacock has a lot to do with ego. Peacocks put on a huge show, and they're very, for lack of a better word, they're very flamboyant. They've got a display of an array of displays that they can put on for each other, for predators, and for you know, it's kind of a two-pronged thing going on here. That's perhaps the key for you, is not putting too much of your ego forward towards displaying love or getting the love sucked out of you. Maybe the boundary that you need to be putting out for yourself is not displaying everything. And in another way that you can kind of interpret this is that, you know, without having a display of love, without doing that, you're not able to actually attract the keys that you need to figure out the direction that you'd like to go. So, I mean, whether you're overdoing it or underdoing it, just make sure that you're not draining yourself of your own self-love. And that's always the most important thing, that you need to get traction and, you know, like momentum going in the right direction, so that you're not completely, I don't know, I'm just hearing a lot of, I'm seeing like a water going down a drain. So maybe take a long bath and enjoy the bubbles and observe the spider on the wall or something. I don't know. I'm just talking about insects for some reason. In any case, let me go ahead and get one last card. This is going to be for boundaries and nebula, stardust, and transformation. Please. Okay, we got the deer. So the deer is obviously a very docile animal. It's very sweet. They don't make that much noise. I think they're able to make noises, but they just choose not to most of the time. And they're not predatory. They are herbivores. So they eat plants. And I think boundaries with like I was saying, I don't know why this is coming out so strongly today, but I'm just saying that, being aware of your surroundings. This was something interesting to kind of think about for me the other day. I had this conversation with a friend about the location of animals' eyes depending on if they're predators or if they're prey. And I know we often say that family that prays together stays together, so you can think about praying in a spiritual sense, or you can also think about in the animal world here, predator and prey being your food source. So I don't know why all this food, we're just gonna just pretend you're in the kitchen. Anyway, so what I'm seeing here is that your power may be in silence, more so in not displaying your entire hand immediately up front, and instead just being willing to submit or kind of go with the flow of things. That's oftentimes you see deers in fields with each other, kind of just enjoying each other's presence. They're very withdrawn. They've got a lot of knowledge about how to evade predators and keep their boundaries really strong. But it is also one of those transformational moments when you see, for example, a lion enter a pride, a lion from a pride enter a deer-filled field of, whatever. They all scatter and they go everywhere. So they're very able to maneuver away from, predators, but they're also able to do that by outrunning them. So your horsepower or your mystery here, the direction that you may be kind of needing to, sorry, that card was not with that, that you may be needing to kind of temper. Same thing with horses. They're also herbivores, and I'm just seeing, instead of displaying a lot of force, both the deer and the horse are very, they maneuver in ways that are hard to keep up with. And that's their strength, is that they're nimble and quick. I'm just hearing that children's Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick. So speaking of Icarus, I don't even know where some of this comes from. It just comes out. So in any case, I hope that helped you guys, Aquarius. I will be back next time, whenever that is. Have a good night.